Then I had to do all that I did. So this homework that we have decided to do about before getting on to Swadharma, where Sadharma becomes automatic. What is important is to print in your head, in Vinoba Bhave's word, कि मन में ये दो बातें एकदम बिठा लो. कौन सी दो? One, that I am not the body. Two, that I am that. And the soul. So if this is imprinted in your mind, you can't do anything but Swadharma. Anything else will just not occur to you or happen for you. So what will happen through you is Swadharma. Now, if Swadharma can become that easy, is the effort that we were making. And those two, three statements, to imprint them in our head, the way it was written in the book, it wasn't getting imprinted. So I changed it to my way. Some of you have also shared how you have changed it. And then after having to watch this video, even if you just watch the first 10 minutes, and maybe again the last 10 minutes, it two things in it struck me very strongly. It is about this lady who had a near-death experience. And she's saying that I can see that I am outside and I can see that myself lying there. And she's a doctor by profession, gynecologist. She's saying, I can see that my heart has stopped. So I said, why should I remain in this body? I came out. I like that statement very much. इसका हार्ट काम नहीं कर रहा है तो मैं इसमें क्यों रहूं? तो मैं निकल आई. I just am not able to forget. And she said it so simply, but it has, remained stuck in my head because that helps to detach from the body. And she describes how much freedom she's experiencing having to come out of that body. But then when she's asked to go back into the body, and she just has to listen, it's some higher order that is telling her. And she's saying, I'm feeling all caged. So literally, जो भगवद गीता में description है, is what she's describing. I found that really amazing. I said, my God, if you dwell on this vision, and she's described it so vividly, so well, so simply, that you can actually visualize it. So if you can visualize yourself like that, Swadharma will become so much natural. So
actually, last week I had listened to another person, a foreigner, who had given the same thing. Absolutely same experience. Yeah. In his case, the only difference was he was crossing the road, he got hit. And he said the whole experience lasted a few seconds. And the next thing he was doing was he got up from there.
Okay.
Even though he was hit badly and the car driver had stopped, the car driver kept apologizing, telling him everything. He is telling, why are you stopping me? I have not got injured.
Oh.
And he said, yeah, he was really not injured, not a scratch, not anything. But he was also sent back. And what his experience was there out of his body. The time, space, factor, everything.
My God.
Those, I just listened to it 5 days back. That's why I didn't listen to this one immediately. I said, I'll watch it थोड़ी देर के बाद.
But yes, like,
yeah, like you said, it gives you, no, and see, it is anybody who's had a near-death experience, वो वैराग्य towards the body हो ही जाता है to some extent, not completely, because we are still trapped in the body. So वो complete वैराग्य नहीं होता है, and I can say that from experience, because I've had more lives than a cat has had. I always say that I've had death experience at least 9 times. उतनी बार हाय हेलो करके वापस आई हूँ. तो वैराग्य है काफी हद तक, लेकिन पूरी तरह से नहीं होता है वो, because the circumstances of having to live itself is not possible with a total vairagya towards the body. Only thing is what we feeling is there is that I have to make the best use of this body for my growth.
Yes.
That is the feeling that comes.
Yeah. क्या बात है? Payal could join. Welcome, welcome.
You're on mute, Payal.
Oh, my matter got, I mean, part heard ho gaya, half argue one, now it's kept on next Saturday for arguments. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Chalo.
yeah, so I could join. मैं गाड़ी में हूँ अभी, but I could join. Okay.
कौन पढ़ रहा है? चल ज्योति, बहुत दिनों बाद आई है, तू पढ़.
मैम कौन सा पैरा में?
8th पैरा, page 32 in my book. Chapter 2 का 8th पैरा. Under the 7th point. 7th topic, awareness of self that transcends the body. एक पेज छोड़ के अगले पेज पे 8वां पैराग्राफ.
एक मिनट मैम, सॉरी, my son was calling. I missed what you were saying. Please एक बार बोल
8वां
दीजिए.
पैराग्राफ सेकंड चैप्टर का.
8वां पैराग्राफ. Okay. Yeah. The body is ना?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a moment. I'll just disconnect this.
Anyway, मैंने अपनी बात कह दी. किसी और को कुछ कहना है? अपना कुछ एक्सपीरियंस कुछ किया हो तो, क्वेश्चन हो तो.
You know, ma'am, मैंने जैसे last time बोला था कि it's, if you're negating something, I cannot negate that my body is there. I can negate the fact that, okay, it is transient. I should not identify. But if I totally try to say that I don't have a body, that's not the truth.
No, but that's not true, no. You have a body.
But I am not that body.
But you are not that body. You are something more than that body. You have.
Yeah.
I
have a body.
Have something that you are not.
So then, ma'am, I am correct, ma'am. So I am both the body and the spirit, the consciousness.
If you say I am, it is incorrect. I have is correct. There's a difference.
But ma'am, the body is insignificant and transient, but it is there. It is a.
Yeah, you
Can
have.
I say something, Suchi? It is said in the Bhagavad Gita that just as we wear clothes and discard them, the soul discards and takes the body. So that's why Suchitra is saying that when we say have the body, it is something we possess. The soul uses for some time. Okay, it uses it. But if I say that I am the body, the identification occurs.
Correct. My question is, I think I'm not getting clear with ma'am and you, is that during this birth, I am the soul. I'm always the soul. But it is my body cannot be totally negated that I'm not the body. Can I say that?
Yeah, you are not the body. You have the body. There's a difference. जैसे मेरा घोड़ा. तो तू तो घोड़ा नहीं है ना? तेरा है.
Correct. मेरा body
belongs to you. It has to have a separate existence.
Correct. But
so
मैं उसकी existence को.
What you have. It is not you yourself.
Correct.
That is the difference.
Correct. But my thing is, how can I just negate something? के body, it's a part of me as a spirit.
कहाँ हुआ?
के body, मतलब यहाँ जो कर रहे हैं कि it is insignificant and transient.
Insignificant. अच्छा तो अभी तो मैंने बोला कि you cannot identify with this statement. You make a statement with which you can identify. Okay. That was the whole assignment that we gave ourselves, no?
Yes.
We cannot begin straight away there. So you walk towards it. क्या कर रही है? तू छलांग लगा रही है जो कि तेरी एबिलिटी नहीं है अभी. एक कदम चल तो सही.
And the moment you say I have the body, you're not negating it, isn't it? When I say I have a house, I have clothes, I have something, I'm not negating its existence. I'm only negating the identification with it. So same way,
Okay.
when you say I have the body, you're not negating its existence. You're negating the identification with the body.
But I can't say I am both the body and the consciousness. Correct? That is what you all are telling. I
Can be
cannot
only
make that
one, no?
statement.
Yeah. No, because if you say I am, the identification occurs, no? When do we say I am? When we are identified with something, we say I am.
Okay. All right.
If, like she gave you the example of the Goda, if I get very, very identified with the Goda and I think the Goda is me, then I'll say I'm the Goda. No, otherwise I'll say I have the Goda, or it's my possession. That is how I put it. So the body, when we say I have it.
Hello. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we say that I have something, it is a possession. Okay. So the identification alone is removed. We are not negating its existence.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But the body is, in fact, like a garment. We can put on a new garment as the old one gets worn out. Had the same body stuck to the self forever, the plight of the self would have been really sad. That would have stopped all growth, extinguished all joy, and dimmed the illuminating power of knowledge and wisdom. Hence, perishing of the body is not a thing to grieve. Had the self been perishable, that would indeed have been a cause for grief. But the self is imperishable. The eternal self clothes itself in a succession of bodies. That is why it is utterly wrong to get attached to a particular body and its relations and grieve over their loss. And it is also wrong to consider some as kin and others as aliens. The universe is a beautifully woven whole. Were we to cut up the undivided self, immanent in the whole universe, into bits of separate selves using the body as a pair of scissors, like a child who willfully cuts a whole piece of cloth with a pair of scissors, would it not be the height of childish folly and moreover an act of extreme violence? It is really a pity that India, the land where Brahma Vidya, the science of realizing the Brahman, was born, is now teeming with innumerable groups and castes. Our fear of death is perhaps unparalleled. No doubt it is a consequence of a long period of subjection, but then one must not forget that it is also one of the causes of that subjection.
बोलो क्या बोलते हो इसके बारे में? Any thought that catches your attention particularly, that suits you to hold in your mind and work at?
So it's doing two things simultaneously, no, ma'am. That self is imperishable and the body is perishing, and it is necessary for the body to perish because otherwise growth would not be possible. That all one understands that fully well. Okay.
तो वहीं से शुरू करने का. Begin from where you understand. So that is what you must dwell upon. And then the next follows. Once you step onto this thinking, you will arrive.
Okay.
So that is why even in the Gita, this whole idea has been repeated several times in different ways, in different contexts. Trying to put in, चारों तरफ से उसको देखने का, a multi-pronged approach to understand that idea completely. So you begin with wherever you are. हमें वहीं से शुरू करना है जो हमारे को पड़ता है. लेकिन the basic principle is nothing that is deniable. उसमें से कोई तो aspect रहेगा जो कि हमारे को जचेगा.
Right, ma'am.
शुरू करें.
So what is this? जो last मुझे थोड़ा समझ नहीं आया. We were to cut up the undivided self, immanent in the whole universe, into bits of separate selves using the body as a pair of scissors, like a child who willfully cuts a whole piece of cloth with a pair of scissors. Would it not be height of childish folly and moreover an act of extreme violence? ये आप explain कर सकते हो?
Can anyone explain this? Anyone who has any idea of what is it that is being said? या सभी के मन में ये सवाल है. This statement has come in the context. The eternal self clothes itself in a succession of bodies. That is why it is utterly wrong to get attached to a particular body and its relations and grieve over their loss. And it is also wrong to consider some as kin and others as aliens. All this is related to the body in contrast to the self. The universe is beautifully woven whole.
Whole.
है ना? The universe is beautifully woven whole. The whole universe is one, is complete and whole. Were it cut up, the undivided self, eminent in the whole universe, that undivided self which is eminent in the whole universe, were it to be cut up, cut up into this human body, that human body, that human body, this plant body, this animal body, this rat body, this insect body. What would happen?
अपना ही नुकसान.
That oneness, that wholeness, that complete, that whole fabric would be wearing off, decayed, and would lose its wholeness, no? तो यदि हम शरीर के अंदर, यानी कि आपके शरीर में एक अलग आत्मा है, मेरे शरीर में एक अलग आत्मा है, रूपल की एक अलग आत्मा है, और ये मच्छर जो मंडरा रहे हैं उसकी एक अलग आत्मा है, ऐसा नहीं है. This entire universe is a whole. So this statement, to explain that statement, Vinobaji has given this example of this child cutting. कौन सा statement? The universe is beautifully woven whole. So all of this is portion of this same one whole, and its entity, its existence is such that the body cannot really divide it. यदि हम ऐसा सोचते हैं कि ये इस शरीर के अंदर उसको बंद कर दिया तो ये आत्मा अलग है, वो आत्मा अलग है, नो. और ये ऐसा क्यों बता रहे हैं? ये उससे पहले जो कही हुई बात है उसको समझाने के लिए. कौन सी बात कही है? The eternal self clothes itself in a succession of the bodies. एक के बाद एक बॉडीज चेंज किए ना हमने, यानी हर बार कोई वो आत्मा चेंज की है हमने? आत्मा तो वही है. That is why it is utterly wrong to get attached to a particular body and its relations and grieve over their loss. Why it is wrong to grieve over the loss? Because the entire thing is one. What is loss is the body which was not yours, which is not you. तो एक बार हम ये जो बॉडी से रॉन्गली आइडेंटिफाई करने लगे हैं, उससे हम छुटकारा पा लें, तब हम वो दूसरी बात के ऊपर अपने आप को ला पाएंगे. पहले तो कि ये हम आत्मा है, और फिर उसके बाद ये होगा कि ये सारी आत्मा एक है. बट इट्स अ स्टेप वाइज प्रोसेस. theoretically, intelligently, एक बार ये शब्दों के जाल से हम उसको, we keep it as a knowledge, park it. But begin from where you can make sense and be open to arrive at that thinking.
Got it,
Anjali, I
ma'am.
think you've raised hand. Please say.
Yeah. I wanted to say that there was a very nice explanation for this concept of the essence being, in every one of us. The example given by, this was on some Swamiji's example, is that just like many rays of light, they come from the same source, will light up different rooms. The same essence comes into each different body to make us, give us the spark of life.
Beautiful. सूरज की रोशनी
Lovely.
तेरे कमरे में आ गई तो अलग है क्या? मेरे घर में आ गई तो अलग है क्या?
Oh, wow.
This is
Yeah,
so
so
beautiful.
I
so
really
body
like that
body
explanation.
so body is the several rooms, correct,
हाँ,
ma'am?
Yeah.
how nice.
Yes. This makes little sense now.
This makes sense.
That yeah. Yes. So we are that light and not
Yes.
the room.
Right. रूम के अंदर आई है, रूम को उजागर करना है ना, इसलिए रूम के अंदर आई है.
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
चलो. Anything else? ये ब्राह्मण वाला पैराग्राफ जो नीचे फुटनोट है वो कोई पढ़ेगा?
एक मिनट मैम, मैं पढ़ूं? मैं
हाँ, पढ़.
ओके, पढ़े. कौन पढ़ रहा है?
आप पढ़ो ग्लोफाइल.
Okay. Just 1 minute. Huh? I'm just writing that ma'am's explanation.
हाँ, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. And not the room. Okay. Okay. We hate the word death.
नहीं नीचे
It is.
ये
अच्छा,
जो
footnote.
फुटनोट पढ़ो ना पहले ब्राह्मण के बारे में.
अच्छा मैम, मुझे footnote नहीं है, मेरी notes में नहीं है.
अच्छा, तू पढ़ ज्योति.
I don't.
Okay. Brahman is the absolute, the supreme truth, the ultimate reality. The concept is, in fact, too grand for conceptualization and description. The Upanishad had, therefore, to speak of the Brahman in negative terms. The real is not this, the real is not that. Brahman is the supreme principle that is the root cause of the generation, evolution, and extinction of the world. It pervades everything and transcends everything. It is the supreme self. The individual self is a part of the Brahman, and the consummation of its development and evolution lies in merging with the Brahman. That is, attaining spiritual liberation.
वाह. अभी वो लाइट वाला एग्जांपल देने से ये भी समझ में अच्छे से आया होगा. So the real is not this, the real is not that. In fact, नेति बुद्धिज्म
हाँ.
का
Yes.
बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट एक सूत्र है. सो क्योंकि उसकी खुद की कोई कैरेक्टरिस्टिक नहीं है, तो ये ही कैरेक्टरिस्टिक बोल के उसको समझाया जा सकता है कि वो ये भी नहीं है, ये भी नहीं है, ये भी नहीं है, ये भी नहीं है, ये भी नहीं है. तो ये सारा सब निकालने के बाद में जो बचता है वो है वो. सो आई एम दैट.
So it is incapable of description. That is why it is that it is not this, it is not this.
और अपने माइंड की एक लिमिटेशन है ना.
हाँ.
अपने समझने की शक्ति तो त्रिगुणात्मक है.
हाँ.
तो
Yes.
वो तो उसके त्रिगुणों से लिमिटेड है. और
Yes.
ये
Any
beyond
description is within that.
सॉरी, कुछ कह रही हैं जी?
Sorry, I interrupted. Any description comes within the realm of trigunas.
हाँ.
Hmm.
तो ये उसके बियॉन्ड है, तो अपन कैसे डिस्क्राइब कर सकेंगे?
It is beyond the three gunas also means.
We are, the body is made up of the three gunas, na? And as long as you're not liberated, as long as the subtle body keeps on changing one body to another, till that time, you are under the influence of three gunas. The true self is beyond the three gunas.
Okay.
चलो पढ़ो आगे.
We dread the word death. It is considered inauspicious. Gyandeva had to write regretfully. Aga mar ha bolna sahati आणि मेल्या तरी रडती. They cannot bear the word death and cry over death. If someone dies, what tears, what wailing. We seem to think it a duty. We seem to think it a duty. People go to the extent of hiring professional mourners. Even when death is imminent, we do not tell the patient of it. He is kept in the dark even when a doctor has told us that the patient cannot live. Even doctors do not speak plainly to the patients and go on pouring medicines down their throats until the last moment. If, instead, the doctor were to tell the patient the truth, give him courage, and direct his thoughts towards God, what a help that would be. But it is feared that this little pot of the body might crack of a shock before its time. But can death ever come before the right moment? Besides, even if it comes a little earlier, what does it matter? We should certainly not be loveless and hard-hearted. But attachment to the body is not love. On the contrary, true love emerges only when attachment to the body is overcome. When we are freed of that attachment, we would realize that the body is an instrument for service, and then the body would gain its true dignity. But today we regard pampering of the body as the sole purpose of our lives. We have totally forgotten that the life is to be lived for the fulfillment of Swadharma, and one has to look after the body for this purpose only. It should be given proper nourishment, but there is no need to indulge the palate. It is all the same to the ladle whether you use it to serve a sweet dessert or plain curry. It feels neither happy nor unhappy. The same should be the case with our tongue. It should, of course, be able to distinguish between different tastes, but should not feel any pleasure or repulsion. The body is to be paid its due hire and nothing more. A spinning wheel has to be oiled regularly to keep it in working condition. In the same way, we should provide fuel to the body as we have to take work from it. If that is our approach, the body, although having little intrinsic worth, would become worthy and valuable and gain true dignity.
कितना beautiful बोला.
Ma'am, I got a lot of my answers from
है
here.
ना?
Yes.
इसीलिए बहुत बार इनफैक्ट आगे और आएगी ये बात फिर से. अगेन लेटर ऑन इट विल कम. लेकिन ये कितना क्लियर हो गया. एक तो ये बात कितनी सही है ना कि कोई मर गया उसके ऊपर रोए नहीं तो गलत है. और ये
Yes.
एकदम उल्टा बोल रहे हैं.
Yes.
Stupid that people hire mourners.
Yeah.
No, but this is a very jaded concept in people because that's what happened when I didn't cry when my husband died. My niece went and told my sister, please make her cry.
No, see, वो एक psychological effect के लिए बात होगी. You know, concern for you.
But what I'm trying to say is, ये somewhere the understanding that we have, which allows us, like I told you, I've gone through so many near-death experiences. मेरे को वो फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला. So what it's in connection with the statement Vinobaji has made.
Okay, yeah.
The people have that concept कि कोई मर गया तो नजदीक वाले relatives ने रोना चाहिए.
Yes,
they
it's
do
so
not
it's so
understand that somebody may be above it.
हाँ, correct. वो एक ritual है जैसे.
हाँ, ritual जैसे हो जाता है.
Very few are like that, no? Very few are like that. That's why it's so true. But one habit I've formed now, ma'am, that I don't write may his or her soul rest in peace. I just write Om Shanti. That's it. No, this thing regrets. Khali Om Shanti likhne ka, because
yes.
the soul
Rest
has
in peace
taken.
In any case is not for the bodies that are burnt. Rest in peace for those that are buried.
Yeah.
Once the body is burnt, there's no rest in peace.
It's perished.
It's liberated already.
Gaya.
It's already gone. It's liberated.
See, the whole idea
See,
is.
we say We say, may the soul attain Sadgati. That is what is said in other.
Yes,
Sadgati.
yes, yes, that's correct.
Or
Sadgati.
you say Om Shanti.
Rest
One
in
of
Om
the
peace
two.
is only for the buried bodies.
True.
And what I like is that he is so sensitive. ये सारा सारा उन्होंने इतना तगड़ा तगड़े बात कह तो दी कि हम बेवकूफ हैं कि मोनर्स बुलाते हैं ये वो करते हैं, लेकिन उसके साथ में उन्होंने ये भी बात बहुत अच्छे से कह दी कि डॉक्टर लोग ये बोलने से डरते हैं कि भाई ये जाने वाला है, हाँ? और यदि कितना अच्छा हो कहने को कह रहे हैं, जबकि वी नो सम डॉक्टर्स डू टेल यू कि जरा भगवान का नाम लो, बोलते हैं कई डॉक्टर, और नॉट एवरीबडी इज एबल टू टेक दैट वेल. एंड देन ही सेज, बट कैन डेथ एवर कम बिफोर टाइम? आ भी गई तो क्या?
Yes.
So it's a strong statement to make. हाँ, बोल.
Yeah.
We should certainly not be loveless. मर जाने से फर्क नहीं पड़ता, ऐसी बात तो यानी this is not a statement of you know कि उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता वाला. We should certainly not be loveless and hard-hearted. अब ये दोनों कॉन्ट्रास्ट इकट्ठा समझना बहुत मुश्किल होता है कईयों के लिए. We may not fully be able to grasp this. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लगा मेरे को स्टेटमेंट, एंड एट अ पॉइंट वेयर इट इज मेड. This is extremely important. But attachment to the body is not love. And on the contrary, true love emerges only when attachment to the body is overcome. In fact, in that video also, this lady describes her journey where she sees a place where there is this very soothing, cooling, bright, very bright, brightest red light. And she says, I heard myself is also a small bindi, apne aap ko bol rahi ho, white bindi. And I see so many others white bindis sitting over there. Those sitting in the first row are the brightest. And she said, when I see them, I'm seeing them. हाँ, ये मेरी बहन है, ये मेरे पिताजी हैं सब बिंदी. But she is able to recognize them. And then she says कि मेरे को लगा कि मैं तो इधर तीसरे रो में हूँ, तो मेरे को भी फर्स्ट रो में जाना है. तो वो जो कूलिंग सूदिंग जो लाइट थी, मुझे लगता है जैसे वो ही लाइट ही मेरे को यहाँ ले आई, और वो मेरे को बोलती है कि उसके लिए पढ़ना पड़ेगा बहुत. हाँ हाँ, मेरे को पढ़ना बहुत अच्छा लगता है, तो जाओ पहले पढ़ो. और उसको वापस भेज दिया, पढ़ के आओ. फिर बोलती है, फिर मैंने अगले दिन सवाल पूछा, लेकिन मैंने ये तो पूछा ही नहीं कि क्या पढ़ना है, वो कौन से इंस्टीट्यूशन में पढ़ना है, किससे पढ़ना है. Then she goes back again the next time she asks and comes and she gets an answer. No, it is so beautifully talked. I just loved it. I just loved it. The simplicity with which she's saying it. You know, कोई अलग ऐसा विचित्र जैसा कुछ नहीं लगा कि एक घटना है जो हुई वो बता रही है. और लिटरली वो ही है. You know, I just loved this. I just loved this. Beautiful. तो उसमें वो जो के वहां पर बैठ के वो जो प्रेम की अनुभूति हो रही थी, and that's what Vinoba ji is talking of over here, and therefore I'm reminded of her sharing over there. Only when attachment to the body is overcome do we know love. नहीं तो जो भी है वो मोह है.
Drink water.
पर देखो मैम,
नहीं, कभी कभी ज्यादा बात करने से भी तकलीफ होती है।
हाँ हाँ,
When we see, I don't know whether Payal is also from the institute and Yogita has also done the teacher's training. But if you all have had an opportunity to see Dr. Jaydev at the institute,
No, I've not.
We have had that experience. We know what it is, what Vinobaji is calling about not being loveless and hard-hearted, but without an attachment. See, that kind of a feeling is a totally different feeling because such a person will not have any expectation from you because there is no attachment. So we have had this experience from Dr. Saab that he had the same attitude towards every person who came in front of him. It didn't matter whether they were small, big, rich, poor, what, nothing mattered. He had the same attitude, same compassion, same, a very positive attitude towards everyone. So that is something what I think is what Vinobaji is talking about.
Yes. You said it.
सुची कंटिल है क्या तेरे पास?
हाँ है ना.
तो रखना मुंह में.
आ जाएगी.
बहुत फर्क पड़ जाता है वो मुंह में रखने से. So that is what it is. So it's not being loveless, it's not being attached. A love which is not coming from a selfish motive. That happens when we are attached because there's some expectation, some desires, some attachment. Oh, it's not a pure love. That is what doctors always tell us.
That becomes rag, no? Then.
Yeah, that becomes rag.
But do we ever experience this total pure selfless love in our lifetimes? When?
Compassion is something we can experience, isn't it? See,
Yes.
when do we experience compassion? We experience compassion when sometimes something happens to a person we don't know. And yet you feel, that it's not sympathy. You feel that I can't explain. There's a word for compassion. Compassion, you feel something for that person. Now that person is a total stranger. Why you need to feel that feeling for them? It is because of that oneness we experience with the other person without being attached. And that oneness comes because we are all having the basic oneness within us. As one human to another or as one, and it's not just with another human being. Sometimes you may feel that kind of a compassion towards a dog, a cat or any other living being also, no? So that is because of that essence and we do experience that. So it's not that we don't experience a love which does not come out of attachment. We do experience it. But it is not that strong in us as to be a permanent thing. It comes in fits and bursts.
और ऊपर से हम
But it
differentiate
is
भी तो नहीं कर पाते हैं.
Huh?
We are not able to always differentiate the two.
Yeah, correct.
वो यदि differentiate करेंगे तो समझ में भी आने लगेगा and we'll be able to hold on to it also.
Yeah.
वो mix up कर देते हैं इसको. और शायद इसीलिए अब वो पकड़ा नहीं जाता है. वो जब तक मीर शीर विवेक नहीं होगा.
Awareness only can help.
हाँ, उसके वो और awareness होके उसको कैच करना चाहिए.
रूपल गिर रही है, रूपल अटैच हो रही है.
Yeah. In fact, Yogendra ji, he passed away like that. He was saying that now my the prana has gone out of my legs. Now it is gone out of my liver. It's gone out of my stomach. He was describing as he left the body.
No, and in case of Yogendra ji, Ansaji had also mentioned that it was a willful thing because he had stopped eating and he had stopped drinking and everything. So it was a willful release of the prana from his body. Payal, we can't hear you.
फिर जो उसके बाद वाले पैरा में जो बोल रहे हैं, हम पैम्परिंग तो करते हैं बॉडी की whenever we understand that okay, body is important. Even if I am not the body, but I have the body, क्यों? क्योंकि मेरे काम की है, उसका उपयोग करना है. तो उपयोग करना है तो उसका मतलब उसको पैम्पर नहीं करना है, उसका उपयोग काय के लिए करना है. We have totally forgotten that life is to be lived for the fulfillment of स्वधर्म. बॉडी का इस्तेमाल किसके लिए करना है? स्वधर्म के लिए. और स्वधर्म हमारे को उन्होंने पहले बता दिया है, is there in existence before you are born in that body. तो इस शरीर में आपके आत्मा ने जन्म लिया है वो स्वधर्म पूरा करने के लिए, और इसी बात को हम भूल जाते हैं. And one has to look after the body for this purpose only. तो हम जो पैम्परिंग करें यदि बॉडी की, it should be with this purpose, यानी कि पर्पस ध्यान में रख के ही काम करना है, और पर्पस है स्वधर्म पालन. तो स्वधर्म जानेंगे तब स्वधर्म पालन का पर्पस होएगा ना. और स्वधर्म जानने के लिए ये दिमाग में छापना जरूरी है. You have to look through this lens that I have a body, I am not the body, and I am that soul, I am that atma. कहने को कितना आसान है ना. It should be given proper nourishment. यानी कई लोग जो शरीर को यातनाएं देते हैं, तप करके, उपास करके, हम सुनते हैं ना, घोरी लोग जो होते हैं. So I think what he is trying to say is those are not the kind of things to be done. Your body has to be nourished. And not to indulge, of course. क्योंकि indulgence हमारे को स्वधर्म से भी दूर ले जाता है ना, तो nourishment नहीं रहता है. Excess of everything is bad. It is all the same to ladle. I like the example of the tongue and the ladle compared. Jeep is like the ladle, no? कि वो खीर परोस की कि कड़ी परोस है, ये एक ही बात है. उसको क्या फर्क पड़ता है, लेकिन उसको मालूम होना चाहिए कि मैं खीर परोस रही हूँ और मैं कड़ी परोस रही हूँ. क्योंकि जीभ को it's different from the ladle in having to recognize the taste. So it's only about having to be aware, having to have knowledge. But that knowledge should not deter you from your स्वधर्म. जानना तक स्वधर्म है, लेकिन हाँ ये अच्छा लगता है जहां वो आ गया कि ये ज्यादा लो तो गया. हाँ ये ज्यादा लो यदि तुम्हारे शरीर के अंदर उसकी पूर्ति करनी है, लेकिन अच्छा लगता है इसलिए ज्यादा लो तो वो स्वधर्म कहाँ होगा.
Suchi, here I wanted to share two things. Today one person shared with me, and it's also mentioned in Sai Baba's book, that the Jain munis, those who take the diksha, उन लोग जब भिक्षा लेने किसी के घर जाते हैं, उधर बैठ के नहीं खाते, वो अपने डब्बे में लेके जाते हैं.
Yes.
तो उनके पास सिर्फ 2 डब्बे रहते हैं, एक में सब सूखा चीज और एक में सब गीला चीज.
Yes.
And same thing is said about Sai Baba. He used to mix all the dry items in one thing and all the wet items, and he used to mix them, and without any taste को importance दिए हुए खाना.
Yes.
Just for the purpose of nourishing the body and keeping it able to function. So for that purpose, and they don't take much, they just take a bare minimum. सामने वाला जितना देता है उतना. अभी साईं बाबा के बारे में ये बोला जाता था, वे सिर्फ 5 घरों में जाते थे. जितना उसमें वो 5 घरों में मिला बस उतना ही खाया, उससे ज्यादा नहीं.
गुरुकुल
तो वो वाली
में
चीज-
ब्रह्मचारियों को ऐसा रहता था ना ट्रेनिंग कि आज 3 घर से भिक्षा लानी है या 5 घर से भिक्षा लानी है उनको, और उसी के अंदर चलाना है. That used to be a
correct.
part of the training. Yeah, that makes so much sense. But हम उस तरफ जाना हो तो कैसे जाएं, क्या करें, हम कहाँ हैं उसके संदर्भ में I'm not able to figure that out.
I am, see, this is from my personal experience. I will say that not indulging in something we like is a starting point for us. Like बीच में मेरे को ये दिमाग में आया कि मेरे को छोड़ना है कोई चीज जो मेरा फेवरेट है, तो मैंने आइसक्रीम छोड़ दिया. पहले when after I left the ice cream, every time I passed an ice cream shop or saw someone licking an ice cream in front of me, वो अरे छोड़ दिया फीलिंग आता था. लेकिन अभी फर्क नहीं पड़ता, इनफैक्ट डिजायर भी नहीं होता है कि आइसक्रीम खाएं. तो परसों ही मेरे को किसी ने पूछा आपको आइसक्रीम पसंद नहीं है कि आप क्यों नहीं छोड़ते, खाओ ना कभी. ऐसे मैं छोड़ू भी ना, मेरा जो ये है बाधा लिया है, मैं अगर छोड़ू भी तो मुझे नहीं लगता है मुझे वो डिजायर होगी कि मैं खाऊं. तो आई थिंक दैट्स अ स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट, यू नो, वेयर वी हैव दिस अटैचमेंट टू पर्टिकुलर टेस्ट, फ्लेवर्स, एनीथिंग. We don't have to do fasting. We don't have to do this something on a, you know, okay, पूरा दिन उपवास किया, ऐसा कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं. वो एक चीज टच दो till you realize that it no longer matters to you. फिर उसके बाद तुम खाने भी शुरू करो ना, तुमको हर बार खाने को मन नहीं करेगा. कि इंडल्जेंस वाली जो बात है वो नहीं आती. सामने वो एक डॉक्टर साहब ने एक बार ये कहा था कि किसी ने परोसा, उसको ये मत कहो कि मैं नहीं खाऊंगा, मैंने छोड़ दिया है. सामने वाले को हर्ट हो जाए ऐसे, लेकिन उतना ही खाओ जिससे उसको सेटिस्फाई होगा कि तुमने खाया, और तुमको you don't need to indulge in it. Just that little bit.
बिल्कुल. How beautifully put. Thank you.
I know. It's such a beautifully way he had explained this.
तो शरीर का ध्यान तो रखना ही है without pampering it. और एक तो पैम्पर भी नहीं करना है, और दूसरा उसका बहुत ज्यादा सुनना भी नहीं है. कि अभी उसको बार बार पड़े रहना है. हाँ, मेरी माँ एक कहानी, एक बात बताती थी कि आलसी आदमी ऐसा होता है कि झाड़ के नीचे सोया था, उसके ऊपर एक बोर का झाड़ था, बोर गिर गया, तो एक पासर बाय happened to dance there, stand there and see what's happening. Why is this man lying here like this? तो उसको बोलता है कि छाती पे मेरे बोर पड़ा है, मेरे मुंह में डाल दे तो मैं खा लूं. यानी इतना भी अपना तो ये भी पैम्परिंग ही हो गया एक हिसाब से. लेकिन उसको अकर्मण्य भी नहीं कर देना है, बहुत ज्यादा आराम भी नहीं देना है, उसको पैम्पर भी खुद नहीं करना है, सुंदर भी नहीं बनाने की जरूरत. फिर हम इतना सारा जो डाइट का बात करते हैं, सात्विक डाइट, ये खाना, वो नहीं खाना, फिर उसकी जरूरत नहीं है ना. अभी तूने, क्योंकि वो तूने भिक्षा वाली जो बात कही ना, उससे मेरी खोपड़ी थोड़ी चल गई है कि सब कुछ मिक्स करके जैसे तुम आजकल वैसे ही चल रहा है.
क्या चल गई मतलब आप
You know, Kirti's daughter, na, younger daughter. Kitty always, one of her friends, she's an excellent cook. Excellent means excellent. वो कुछ भी बना वो मस्त बनता है. और उसको वो हर वक्त ये दुख होता था कि उसकी बेटी एक बाउल लेके आती थी और जो भी उसके माँ ने बनाया थोड़ा थोड़ा एक एक स्पून उसी में डाल के वो उसका खाना हो जाता था. नहीं उसका कुछ स्वाद ही नहीं आता, कुछ नहीं होता, ये लड़की ऐसे कैसे खाती है. बट दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ, आई मीन दैट वाज कमिंग नेचुरली टू हर. बट उसने कुछ पूर्व जन्म के कुछ कर्म किए होंगे, वो ऐसे कर सकती है.
बिल्कुल. या आई नो दैट, आई रिमेम्बर दिस. और मेरा आजकल ऐसे ही हो रहा है.
मेरा भी हो रहा है आजकल.
तो वैसे ही खा रही हूँ आजकल.
सब मिक्स करके खाती हूँ मैं भी.
एक कटोरा लिया, उसमें सब डाल लिया और खा लिया
बस.
पता नहीं वो उस वैराग्य की वजह से हो रहा है या ऐसे कन्वीनियंस की वजह से हो रहा, हो सकता है दैट इज अ पैम्परिंग कि ज्यादा मेहनत नहीं करनी है.
नहीं, in my case it's not so much this thing. I am very clear, like certain things. Okay, sometimes I eat it separate also. दो डब्बे आते हैं मेरे घर पे तो 2 डब्बे इस्तेमाल करके खाऊंगी. लेकिन कभी कभी मुझे लगता है नहीं, 2 डब्बे में मेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ता है, साथ में तो खाना है तो साथ में मिला के क्यों ना खाऊं. तो वहां पे वो क्लैरिटी वो है कि इट इज नॉट फॉर लेजीनेस बट द टेस्ट डजंट मैटर.
हाँ,
जाना तो एक ही पेट में है वाली.
बिना नमक के खा लिया.
मैं ऐसे करती हूँ. मेरी वाइफ बहुत बार भूल जाती है खाने में नमक डालने से. एंड देन शी टेल्स आई विल सेंड यू नमक एक्स्ट्रा, आप रखो आपके घर में. ऐसा नहीं, मेरे घर में नमक है, मैं इस्तेमाल नहीं करती हूँ, वो अलग बात है. क्या फर्क पड़ता है, थोड़ा नमक नहीं हो तो कुछ नहीं फर्क पड़ता.
नहीं, और अच्छा लगा, बल्कि उसका भी टेस्ट वो एकदम वो जो ब्लैंड टेस्ट था ना, वो भी अच्छा लगा.
नहीं, वो क्या हो जाता है, उसका जो नेचुरल टेस्ट है वो पता चलता है.
The natural taste of the vegetable and everything you can actually.
Yeah. So it's okay.
चलो, I don't know. I'm still not settled on how to go about it. चलेगा. है टाइम आगे पढ़ने का. 4 बज गए, नहीं पढ़ते आगे. So each one of us will try and find out how do we go ahead with our Laddle. इस टंग के ऊपर क्या क्या करना है. How important is this tongue for us and how it takes us away from स्वधर्म. मेरे को तो वो एक अभी दिमाग में बैठ गया है. और किसी को और कुछ
each of us has to find our own way.
Sorry?
Each of us has to find our own way for that, I think.
हाँ. और मेरे को याद है एक बार तू बता रही थी कि this kind of a detachment, it begins with going away of the sense of taste.
Yeah.
It starts with that, the taste, right?
हाँ.
That's what you're saying, ma'am?
हाँ. Taste gets blunt, kind of, dull.
मेरा taste buds बहुत blunt हो गए हैं, बहुत blunt हो गए.
Anything strong you can't like. वो Chinese अभी अच्छा नहीं लगता है.
नहीं,
बहुत
अच्छा
strong
लगने की बात नहीं
है. मेरे को ऐसा नहीं कि अच्छा नहीं
Flavor.
लगता, नहीं
अच्छा
लगता.
लगना नहीं
Certain
है.
things
अच्छा बुरा तो है ही नहीं.
अच्छा नहीं लगता वाली बात नहीं है.
It
वो
is just
जरूरत
dull.
नहीं महसूस होती.
There's no taste.
नहीं, I won't say there's no taste. Taste है मेरे मुंह में, लेकिन जो वो connection between the taste buds and the mind जो है ना, वो नहीं है.
अच्छा लगना उसी से तो परे होना है.
मतलब मैम बोलने का वो मजा ले लेके खाते थे, वो नहीं आता.
हाँ, वो नहीं होता है. वो नहीं होता है. नहीं, और फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. See, I am now dependent totally on outside food because of certain reasons. तो the only thing is because of certain health reasons. अभी मेरे को जो acidic चीजें होती हैं, बहुत तीखा है, बहुत क्या बोलते हैं, गार्लिक है फॉर एग्जाम्पल, देयर आर सर्टेन थिंग्स आई कांट टॉलरेट. तो वो अगर बहुत ज्यादा तेल है, देन आई हैव टू टेल प्लीज उतना मत डालो. लेकिन अदरवाइज नमक कम पड़ गया, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, उससे नहीं फर्क पड़ता. टेस्ट में वो ये जो फीलिंग होता है कि ऐसा होता तो अच्छा होता, वो वाली बात नहीं रहती.
करेक्ट.
हाँ, वो बात नहीं होती. taste buds still function. In fact, they're more sensitive. That is what I feel.
हाँ वही वो लैडल वाला एग्जांपल मेरे को जम रहा है.
The taste buds are still very sensitive. My sense of smell is also very subtle. In fact, once your sense of taste and your sense of smell get dulled, a lot of things get, detachment start. Well, I find that the biggest, and I find that the biggest attachments we have is to food.
Oh yes.
Even more than relations.
Yes. यस सारे समय उठते ही बराबर सोचना शुरू हो जाता है नाश्ते में क्या खाएंगे लंच क्या करेंगे वो तो अभी कल बनाया था तो आज क्या बनाएंगे.
अरे मेरा तो रोज का नाश्ता सेम है. लोग मेरे को पूछते हैं बोर नहीं हो गए क्या. बीच बीच में अगर कुछ नहीं होता वो इंग्रेडिएंट मैं बाहर जाके खा के आती हूँ. अदरवाइज मेरा एवरी डे इज द सेम नाश्ता एंड आई डोंट गेट बोर्ड. Because वो टेस्ट का है ही नहीं ना अभी. That clarity is there that I'm eating to survive, to nourish my body. That's it.
Wow. Thank you, Anji.
Thank you very much.
So nice.
My
so nice
pleasure
to share
to share
this.
it.
Yeah. Take care.
Yeah, but it's not difficult. एक चीज steps दो फिर उधर से शुरुआत होती है. But my niece had asked me, your favorite is Karela. I know. Why didn't you give up Karela? Why did you give up ice cream? I just told her it's only that I like ice cream more and I tend to eat it more often than I eat Karela.
That's right. That's right.
वो वाली बात है. Find out what is it that you're so fond of. Tea, coffee, whatever. There was a time I couldn't survive without coffee. Now I just drink plain hot water also. I'm happy.
हाँ वो भी चाय की तरह पी लो बोले. गरम चाय.
मेरे को चाय दो कॉफी दो दिया मैं पीऊंगी. नहीं मिला नहीं फर्क पड़ता. होगा तो गर्म पानी नहीं होगा तो इवन ऑर्डिनरी पानी से चल जाएगा.
पानी कैन सब्स्टिट्यूट दैट.
मेरा
भी तो चाय का ऐसा ही हुआ ना. नहीं पीऊंगी चाय करके चाय छोड़ी. अभी वो छोड़ने वाला अटैचमेंट भी नहीं है और चाहिए वाला अटैचमेंट भी नहीं है. ठीक है पी ली और नहीं तो नहीं भी पी.
नहीं. और दूसरी बात है इसके बावजूद ना मिला तो चाव से पीने का.
हाँ वो तो है. वो तो टोटल इन्वॉल्वमेंट हम कंसंट्रेशन की जो बात करते हैं.
Enjoy it while it is there. Enjoy it. वो मेरे को ना सुची वो ब्रह्मचर्य का स्टोरी हम लोग को सुब्रमण्यम ने बताया था ना. क्या याद है तेरे को?
मेरे को याद नहीं.
वो वाली स्टोरी जहाँ पे is anyone getting delayed? Otherwise I'll continue.
No, ma'am, we are enjoying it. I am enjoying it today.
He had given us a story about their Krishna's यमुना में एक island था जहाँ पे एक योगी रहते थे. And every house had the duty to go and once in the morning give lunch to that yogi and come back. तो एक दिन होता है रुक्मिणी का चांस जाके उनको खाना देने का. लेकिन उस दिन बाढ़ होती है रिवर में. So she asked Krishna, how do I go and give him? I have to give him. It's my duty today. So Krishna just says, you go to the river bank and he say, Sadai Upasi. So she goes to the bank and she says, Sada Upasi. The river parts way and gives her way to go there. She goes there, gives the food to the yogi. Now, अभी पंचायत ये है वो वापस कैसे जाएगी घर. So she asks the yogi, now the बाढ़ है मैं कैसे वापस जाऊं. So he says, go to the bank of the river and say, Sada Brahmachari. And go. Now she goes back, but उसके मन में ये है अभी she says, she asks him, na, how do I go back to my husband? And he says, say Sada Brahmachari. So she says, कैसा ब्रह्मचारी मेरा पति है मैं नहीं जानू क्या? He is not a brahmachari, he is living with me. So she goes and asks Krishna, how come the river parted when I said Sada Brahmachari for you? So Krishna explains to her and he says, even the yogi eats his food, so Sada Upasi se kaise part hua? So he says, because if you had not gone to give him food, he would have not been bothered. तुमने लाया खाया, तुमने नहीं लाती तो उसका वो दिमाग में जरा भी विचार नहीं आता कि मेरे को कब खाना मिलेगा. इसलिए वो सदा उपासी है. Means that desire is not there in the mind. Saying मेरी भी वही है. He says, I have no desire to be with you. It must have been a bit of a shock for her, but because you are there with him, with me, I am giving you the companionship.
Wow.
So that is what it is. That
It's like
attachment is not there.
Yeah, living in the world, but not belonging to the world, living in it
Yes,
and
yes,
doing your
absolutely.
duties.
Absolutely.
Wow, it's a
It's
long.
basically, in fact, among though the most difficult klesha to overcome is abhinivesh, but at the same time, I find that raga is very difficult to overcome.
Oh yes, राग द्वेष एक साथ में चलता है.
It's very difficult to overcome them. So उस पे हम लोग अगर काम कर सकते हैं ना तो बहुत हद तक हमारा प्रोग्रेस हो जाता है फिर.
चलो.
And I have a feeling
Abhinivesha is
sometimes ego कम होता है तो अभिनिवेश अपने आप में कम होता है. Because
Abhinivesha is
fear is finally
basically,
because of the ego, na?
yeah. Abhinivesha is fear and insecurity. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
And that is entirely related to our ego. तो अगर ego हमारा कम होते जाता है ना, तो fears भी कम हो जाते हैं.
Correct. 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 Correct.
So work from there. On both these things.
चलो. Laddle पे
Thank you.
काम करेंगे.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so
everyone.
much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for a
Welcome.
wonderful
It was
session.
wonderful
Thank you.
to
Thank you.
enjoy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you everyone.
Welcome.
मतलब कि ये book खत्म होते तब तक तो वैराग्य आ ही जाएगा ऐसा लग रहा है.
Even
शुरुआत तो हो ही
वैराग्य का
जाएगी.
थोड़ा भी अंश भी आ गया तो हो गया ना.
थोड़ी बस शुरुआत हो जाए तो बस है.
हाँ,
बस,
शुरुआत
बस.
भी हो जाएगी तो बहुत है.
एक वीक अभी
बहुत है.
Laddle पे काम करो.
Yes.